Hello, everyone. Today, my guest is Kevin. He is stand-up comedian and he is software engineer, which freaks me out. So thank you for being here.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Moad.
So to be
Excited.
honest, when I was in the open mic, I saw your dad and your mom as
Yeah.
comedians.
Well, my dad is a comedian. Well, my dad does stand up with me as well. My mom is just like a support. She's a very funny woman, but she's not doing stand up though. She's scared to do stand up actually. I think she should at least one time because she's really funny.
Nice. So for how long your father been doing comedy?
I've been doing it for 10 months. And my dad has always wanted to do stand up. He's like, even before I was born, like, I'm 30 years old. So even before I was born, he always wanted to do like George Carlin, Steve Martin, like he looked up to these guys, right? But he just never like took that initiative, right? So even like when I was younger, he would do like impressions of like different, like Rocky Balboa, Daffy Duck, like different like impressions. Like he really liked impressions when I was little, and so he always wanted to be stand up, but he just never took that leap. So when I started doing stand up, I think it was like maybe 3 months after. He's like, you know what? Let me do my first open mic, and he did his first open mic. And so now we've been kind of doing it together. It's kind of like a friendly little competition. So it's good.
That's I like how Americans' father is like, my father wants me to do stand-up comedy now 10 months ago. Because in Arabic country, if your father wants you to do something and you don't do it by the age of 30, you will be dead. So, and
My parents are really supportive, which is awesome. That's been really great, for me. And I think that's really important with comedy, right? You want to have as much support like with your family and your friends and other comedians as well. That's always going to help that journey just be a lot better, right?
yeah, it's weird how we come from different background because I found out about comedy when I was 21. I found out that it exists.
Mhm.
It's real. Because in Yemen, people don't have access of information as much. So, which is, they still don't know about comedy. And it's just cute and meaningful for me to see the whole family.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, 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 yeah. That's interesting. So wait, did you like never hear a joke until you were 21, or did you never laugh until you were 21?
that's
Like
weird. So, I didn't know that it could be a job. And also, I would say that I was born comedian because I always like to make jokes, but I didn't know. And that's why I feel like when I found comedy, it was like the best thing that I ever find in my life.
Mhm.
But in Yemen, people think that you are here to go to heaven or to hell. So it's like whatever you do, it's like, hey, are you going to heaven or to hell? Stop joking or laughing.
Oh, got you. Okay, okay. So do you feel like you're going to heaven or hell, or you don't
So
care?
now I believe in aliens because I watched Joe Rogan podcast.
I believe in aliens too. Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't think that there is heaven or hell.
Mhm.
Like I feel like we don't know where we come from. What do you think?
I grew up Catholic. So I do believe that there is a God, and I do believe that there's a heaven and hell. The thing with me and religion is like I can't like be on board with all of it, like with the whole like I mean, to me it's just kind of crazy with the Bible, right? The Bible is just a crazy book because it's like someone wrote it, so someone had to write it, right? And it's like I'm not like on board with everything that's in it. So I think for me it's like I pick and choose, right? I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do believe in God and I will pray for people, like if they need it, if I need it myself. But also like I believe in luck too. Like there's always like a higher power or some sort of luck. Somebody's looking over me and angels and stuff like that. A crazy thing is like sometimes I look at my phone. Have you heard this thing about like 1111 or like 111? it means that like there's like a, if you see that, it means there's like angels around you, and it's like crazy, right? Because all the time it's almost 11:11 actually, it's 11:08 here, but I would see 11:11 almost like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, right? And apparently that means like there's an angel that's around you or looking over you.
Hmm. That,
Apparently.
that's cool. You are an angel, man. You look like an angel. So
Thank you,
you
man.
are the one.
Oh my
Uh,
god, thank you.
you know, the thing is, I'm glad you still talk about the Bible because when I was kid, all I did is learning the Quran.
Mhm,
I didn't watch movies or smoke weed like
mhm.
the kid. I just learned the whole Quran. So like we weren't even allowed to have TV at our house. So now I say that what the fuck was wrong with, like, I feel like don't say that the Quran is from God because you are destroying the reputation if there is actually God.
Yeah, right.
And I think like he was just having bad day going through breakup when he wrote it. Like it's just so funny book. So you are telling me that your father loves George Carlin and loves comedy. I think that comedy is not against the Bible. I would say like it's because you know, especially George Carlin, he's the type of comedy who question things and is. So how does that combine in one person?
So I guess like my dad is also like me, and so is my mom, right? I think it's just more like we're Catholic, but I think it's more of like we're picking and choosing, right? It's not like full on like
Hmm.
Catholic, right? So I think it's like, yeah, we do believe there's a God, there's a heaven and there's a hell. And I think it's just more of like I think it's just the biggest thing, just like I think just being a good person, to be honest, though, right? So I think that that's really what I care about the most, right? I don't really care about if someone is totally religious or not religious. Like that's the way I feel. I just feel indifferent about it, right? It's the same with politics. I'm very much in the middle, right? So I feel like there's good on both sides. I just hate extremes, I guess if that makes sense. Extreme like in one group or another. Um, so yeah, I'm just always like I always like to get information and kind of like make my own decision. So that's
I
always kind
love
of like
I love people like you. I love when you are not married to your ideas, not you dive in with, you know, your head down. I was going to to ask you. Let's talk about comedy. This is not religion podcast. So
you sure? Okay, okay.
so for me, I always was the funny guy. Like in my university, who's the funny guy? Me. In the class, who's the funny guy? Me. Even when we had COVID hit and our university classes moved to online, I
Mhm.
freak them out on the Zoom during the class to laugh. I mean, make them laugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so when I found comedy and I found that people make money and even people can be UFC fighters because first I saw Fluffy and I was like, oh, I don't want to be fat.
Mhm.
But you know, you remember.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, this is how I didn't know about this. Like this is mine. I get in with full confidence.
Uh-huh.
So for you, what makes you start 10 months ago? Why did you say, okay, now I
Yeah, yeah, that's funny you say that because I've never been, I think, like the funny guy. Like, in fact, like kindergarten through all the way through high school, I was the quietest kid in school, voted quietest kid in school. So I've always been like a really shy, reserved kind of guy. Um, so for me, what got me into comedy was bring it back all the way to late 2019, right? I felt like I was like in a rut. I didn't really have like any strong friendships, and like work was kind of like slow. I think like there wasn't a lot of young people like in my work, right? So I'm like, okay, I really want to like do something. So 2020, I made a New Year's resolution. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do improv, right? So I started with improv comedy.
Mhm.
So January 2020, start with improv comedy. I took like an improv one-on-one class. Loved it. It was amazing because like I'm such like a overthinker And where with improv, you just gotta think on the fly. Like things are happening, you just gotta say whatever coming out of your mouth. Like you don't even know what happened. And I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of funny actually. So I'm like, I didn't even realize how funny I was, because maybe it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, once you like let go of like all your like insecurities, all these like things that are going on in your life, like you realize like, wow, I'm actually maybe kind of funny. I don't know, in my own way. And so then COVID hit, right? So it shut down
Oh,
all the improv, all the stand up, everything like that, right? So I never done stand up at this point. So the rest of 2020, I kind of just like focused like on my career and everything like that, because everything was kind of shut down here in America. Like we're all like locked down. Then 2021, the stand up started opening up, right? Improv was still shut down because of groups, but stand up was opening up. I mean, people in the audience had to have like masks on and everything like that, but you could do stand up comedy. So I'm like, okay, let me try it, because it will help with the improv, right? It'll help me be funnier. So I took a stand up 101 class. It was a good class. I think it was like, it's something where with the class, it doesn't really teach you how to be funny, but I think it teaches you the basic structures. You get that community of like other people who are just starting out as well. And it just kind of shows you like how to write a joke and what to look for, right? And just doing it, because I've never done it before. I've always enjoyed stand-up comedy, like, but I've never like done it. And so then my first open mic, bomb, completely bomb. No laughs at all, complete silence, like crickets, right? Even like people like moving in their chairs, I could hear it. It's like bad. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep trying it. I'm gonna stick with it. I mean, why not? It can't hurt. And yeah, now I'm here. Yeah, so
mm. Like when I started to do comedy, I didn't know what should I focus on. Like I start to make jokes about Earth. Is Earth circle or flat? I'm like,
yeah.
you are just an idiot. So don't put like you know nothing. Like you cannot. By that time I wasn't able to cook anything. Now I can cook beef and chicken.
Uh-huh.
So that's how smart I am. Cook beef and chicken. So think about the beef and the chickens. Anyway,
Yep.
so I used to go to Joke Zoom.
Mhm.
I think I see your father there.
Yep.
So,
I've been there before too. Yeah.
yes. And Rob told me, make jokes about Yemen. You are the fish out of the water. So that
Mm-hmm.
was good. I start to make sure about the differences. And then people start to tell me, like, you look like Yaakov Shmir. So I started to watch him. And I always listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. And it's funny that he gives so many good stuff about comedy, even like when he talking with different guests, because they
Yep.
will ask him, it's his job. So I catch too many stuff, good stuff. And so tell me, how do you write? How do you bring your premises? What do you joke about?
Yeah. So it's been a lot of different ways. It's not just like one way. I have like a my phone. I have this app called Trello, and it basically have a bunch of cards. Every single premise. There's At this point, there's probably over 300 cards, and I probably have not even done all through. But every time I have a thought, I'll like take out
Hmm.
my phone and just write it, right? Or it could be like a one line, it could be a word, it could be anything, right? Like, oh, that could be funny or whatever, right? So I have like a whole list, right? But how I get them is like through just living life, right? I mean, there are a couple of even recent jokes I've done that I've just been like hanging out with friends, or I've had like an experience, and I'll just like write out afterwards. I'm like, okay, this is what I thought about. This is what I thought about. Write about everything just as I remember it, and then I'm like, okay, are there ways where I can enhance the joke, or change out some of the words, or exaggerate some of the details? Because again, in stand-up, like you want it to be funny, right? You don't have a lie detector, right? It's not like there's not like a lie detector on stage like, oh no, that didn't happen, whatever. but like you want people to laugh, right? So it's like as long as like most of it is true, then it's like that's great and it's gonna be relatable, especially if it's true. So I do like real stories, also like interesting facts about myself. Like if you write 50 facts about yourself, you'd be very surprised how many punchlines you'll be able to come up with. That like, oh, I didn't realize that and that. Like, ooh, that could be interesting, right? Um, like, I mean, one thing is like, I'm half Puerto Rican, but most people wouldn't even predict that, right? Or think I'm Spanish, but I don't really know Spanish, right? So that's already a misdirect, right? So saying that, oh, he's a Puerto Rican, but he doesn't know Spanish. Also, like I have an ancestor who was burned in the Salem witch trials, right? So she used to be like a witch, right? That's an interesting fact, right? So I think to me, I like to look at those things as well. So real stories, interesting facts. And what I want to do in the future is I don't know if you've heard of Hassan Minaj, but he's very good at like taking like big topics, serious topics, and making them funny. And so I want to try to do that in the future as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. I feel like uh, I don't want to be like Mr. Knowledge, but I feel like that's what comedy about, to question things, make people think. I would say no, because I like to watch, Russell Peter.
Russell Peters, yep.
You question nothing, but he kills you when he act and talk about his Indian dad and
Yep.
or like someone like George Carlin. Yeah, you could do anything pretty much.
Exactly. And everyone has their own pattern too. Like, that's something you realize. I just actually because I just brought up Hassan Minaj, like I just saw him 2 weeks ago live in Philly, because that's like the area I'm in. Um, and the way he does a punchline is so interesting. If you watch him, he always changes his voice from a premise to a punchline. That's his pattern.
Mhm.
So maybe the premise will give like a very straight voice, and he'll get a high voice for a punchline, right? Or he'll be in a high voice and he'll change for like a low voice. And I think he does that because it kind of almost kind of spoon feeds the audience, or they can recognize the pattern, like, oh, this is where I should be laughing. So that's interesting. Where now I'm trying to do that with my comedy, where recognizing that, like, okay, a vocal change could be super helpful um in helping the audience be like, okay, no, you should laugh here at this part.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been experimenting that with, like, for the past week, and I think it does help. So you know.
Hmm. That make I feel also you can yes, increase your voice, decrease it, make it looks like you are asking question or you are answering, or yeah. So I want to tell you this, that comedy is just I would say comedy is the most thing that you don't touch, you don't see, but it's real.
Mhm.
Because I like to do things that's more real. Um, so that's how I do it, which is I believe I'm doing it the right way for me.
Exactly.
Not everyone have to do it this way, and I believe I'm doing it right. So every day I go to 5 open mics, 4 every day.
4 every day?
I swear to God.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Um, so I put my life. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. So I put my life around, like I make my life decisions depend on comedy. So I don't have friends, and I leave at night, so I have nothing to do. I just cook and go to the gym when I wake up, and that's it. So I work online
Uh-huh.
and I do comedy. It's so nice. And my work, I can work any hours I want.
Mhm, mhm.
So I keep doing pop-up open mics, or there is mics, too many mics going online.
Yeah, yeah.
And joke Zoom every day I go, workshops. So I do this. And I feel that I get too many punchlines. I get too much bitter.
Mhm.
Number two, which is works for me, I like to go for a walk and listen to my recordings for 2 hours or 3 hours
Mm.
every day. But I like to walk by the beach because Cyprus is by the Mediterranean Sea.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh,
It's
uh-huh.
one of the cleanest water in Europe.
Wow.
So I like at night to walk by the sea, make myself relax, watch the moon. I like the sky at night. Like some days it's dark. So like I just keep appreciating the difference every day. I go in the morning and I listen to my recordings. I also keep listening to the workshops 1 and 2 and 3 times just from people conversation.
Mhm.
And writing, I try to write also the jokes that come. Sometimes I just sit and write. And I feel like that's how I feel it's working for me. I feel like, okay, yeah, we are getting better. So how about you?
So I love all that. That's amazing that you're hustling, that you're grinding. I feel like for you though, like I don't think you have to alienate all your friends or remove all your friends, whatever. 'Cause I think it's like I guess how what kind of content are you coming up with? I guess because like is it current? Because like I guess for me, right, a lot of my content comes from like, well, from real stories, right? And that's having real experiences with like my family, my friends, places like that, right? Going to places, right? And almost like now if I go to like a new city or a new place, I almost have this like third eye where it's because now like I'm an alien in this new place, right? So I'm like, okay, ooh, how is this different than my upbringing? How is this different than like where I live right now? Like if I were to go to like a new city, someone's like, oh, okay, how is this different than where I'm at? Like, why are these people interacting, right?
Mhm.
Recently I was in Utah, and Utah is like very different than New Jersey. Right? They're kind of like more religious. There's a lot of mountains, right? More active lifestyle, right? So I think that's interesting though. Like if you have like different experiences, like you still want to experience life. Right? I don't think you can just like sit there and just write all day. Um, but but you can like if it works for you though. So for me, I like to like go and like live life, and then like every day if I can, I'll try to write. Um, because I really want those experiences to feel like it's a like they're real experiences though, and real and coming from like real life, whether it be current or whether me be looking past like almost like as a therapy, like looking past my life. Oh, this is what I was like as a childhood, right? I have some like childhood jokes that I remembered and stuff that like my parents can remind me of, my brother can remind me of, and stuff like that. Um, so I think it's just more like you should live life too. I mean, this is super important, but like make sure you're also living life.
Okay, I think you are right, but if you can push yourself without injuring your brain,
Yes.
uh, then yeah, it's. I know it's extreme because also my girl is not here,
Hmm.
and I'm moving to Toronto hopefully this year.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know. I just don't want to live like a gypsy, or go there and have, especially the weed is legal there. So
Yeah.
you don't want to go
Yeah.
there and draw in everything by going to day job every day, which is,
Mhm.
I think that I will have to do it when I arrive. I'm realistic. Like I'm doing this work every day, 5 mics, writing for the sake of going to Toronto and hopefully start making money with comedy.
Of course. Yeah.
Which is, if it happened when I arrive, good. But I will never force it or push it. And I'm expecting myself to go there and even work for years. But
Mhm.
you open with 111. So maybe if 111 happened to me in Canada, I meet
Hey.
with the right people, the period will be shorter. So no expectations, but I feel like if you, I don't know like about you, but for me now, I am living from like month to month salary,
Mhm.
and I feel like my life, the value of one day, if I make it and I'm comedian, that one day will be much tastier and much beautiful than
Yeah.
one day now or 1 minute that time. So I'm fucking sacrificing every minute in this time. I don't want to leave it. I don't want to enjoy it because
Absolutely.
I think about it like my work is very fucked up, and my girl is in Canada. I cannot afford the clothes I want. I cannot afford, like, living with tight budget. And I'm
Mhm.
going also to Toronto. The rent is expensive, all this shit. So why would I enjoy my day with my friends or do anything?
It's
Like
true.
I, I'm sacrificing everything now. So that's how I'm the mentality.
But it's like a temporary sacrifice, right? Until you move to Canada, because maybe then like things will lighten up. You'll be with your girl, and then like, I think it's like yeah, push. It's like going to the gym, I guess, right? Like push yourself as far as you can, but don't overdo it, right? Also, I wanted to ask you, like, are you writing new stuff every day, or are you editing as well? Like, are you like constantly like looking at old stuff and changing it up?
Okay, so that's the benefit of going to 5 open mics. I never have materials for 5 open mics, but that's what pushed me to try everything. So you said you have 300 idea, yes?
Yeah, yeah, about 300 ideas probably.
If you
Yeah.
go to 5 open mics a day or four,
Okay.
you will burn these ideas. It's like you put um, petrol and you light it.
Mhm.
Because I go and I try everything in my mind. Stories, things happen in Yemen, things happen between me and my girlfriend. People are fucking weird. Sometimes they laugh about things. So I record everything, and whatever people laugh on, I put it down. So from going to 5 open mics, I just create so many materials because
How much do you think you have right now? How much time do you think? Like, if someone say, "Hey, Muad, like, could you do half an hour?"
I go for it. I smash.
You go around.
I
Oh
will
my
smash
gosh.
this.
You could do a Netflix hour right now.
Look, that's the deal. Like when you do Netflix, it's like you give your jokes away. So you have to do comedy for,
Yeah, you gotta be. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Anyway, so this is the benefit of going to open mic. And then when I'm working out
Mhm.
or I live healthy life. I only eat healthy. I go to work out once a day. I do 5 hours walking around the beaches and the waves.
Mhm.
So at this times or when I'm during work, I have some things that come to my mind and I write them down.
Right.
Sorry, or ideas. So it's from everywhere. Ideas come to my mind, going to open mics. And then I sometimes try and sit down and write. And when I'm writing, they get also funnier. So everything.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Do you have do you like have like do your parents know you're doing stand up as well, or do you have do you like your friends, also family, friends, like community, do you have like a community around you, or like that you're like talking to and like they're supporting you?
So nobody is supporting me. My girl is
Your
supporting.
girl is your girl is okay.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, because I feel like for me it's like I do and that's the thing too. It's like I do know comics where their parents don't even know that they're doing stand up. Like that no one knows. Their friends don't know it. Their family doesn't know it, because it's more because like they don't want. Once you tell people that you do stand up, then it's more of like there's like an expectation almost. It's like, hey, like tell me a joke, or hey, like are you funny? There's a judgment that's gonna be there, right?
Mm.
Um, But I posted like on Facebook that, hey, I'm doing stand up, whatever, and I kind of market that now and on my social medias, and a lot of like family and friends have been just like really supportive, and they wanted to come out to all my shows and stuff like that, my open mic. So I do enjoy that though, because it's like they don't have to, but it's always like really nice, and I think it just makes the experience a little bit more enjoyable. So
Mhm.
um, so hopefully when you go to Canada, right, you're gonna be connected with other people like in person, right, other comedians, and making other friends, right, and they'll support you, because I do think it's important. You shouldn't do it by yourself.
Yeah, let me take spoon of honey. Maybe I can cough less. Oh my God. I don't know why I'm coughing. So yeah, I don't know, like my my motivation is so I come from Yemen,
Mhm.
and Yemen been in war for 8 years. Yeah, so and I don't know, it's very annoying to have podcast and I'm coughing. Yeah, but
You're
I
good.
will
You're good.
die. I hope I won't die.
You
So
can edit it out. So
so no, it's fine. People in Yemen don't know about comedy. The country been in war for 8 years.
Mhm.
My family situation is not good. My situation is not good. So the fucked up I am in is my motivation and what keeps me going so crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, but like I think like the community that also includes the jokes, and like that's all part of the community too. They're all supporting you as well. That's all a fan base too. Like I feel like because we want to see you succeed, man. Like I mean that's really the whole point. I think like you it's like family, friends, and other comedians. Like you shouldn't feel like you're doing it by yourself. That's all.
Look,
Which I think
I want to say
I
sorry because you remind me that the comedian community are the best, and yes, they are all supporting.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Because I feel like back in the day, like in the 80s, I don't think that was a thing. Like, I think a lot of comedians got jealous with each other, right? And they would always like, keep their jokes to each other, and they wouldn't like ask for feedback and stuff like that. It was a very like solo thing, I think, back in the 80s and 90s, where today I appreciate um the whole community aspect. Like I give feedback all the time to friends, comedian friends who want it. And they give me feedback. I do joke Zoom. I do International House of Comedy, which is also kind of like a feedback thing. You kind of do your set. Everyone gives like 30 seconds of feedback. And those really help me because it's like I like having different points of view from different people. Like kind of look at my set like, okay, oh, you should like add this as a punchline, right? I would never thought about it. And that point of view could be just because they're a different style of comedian. Maybe they're darker, maybe they're lighter, or from like a joke standpoint, and but also they're from a different part of the world, right? And so now it's like, okay, cool. I want my comedy to be something where everyone in the world can understand it. And so if there's like a reference that's specific to the US, it's like, okay, maybe I could rewrite that in some sort of way to be
Yeah,
able to.
I do this in three process. So I have one woman, her name is Jay. She's like, we are like friends,
Mhm.
and we work on jokes 1-to-1, and
Okay.
she helps me a lot. Okay. And I go to Joke Zoom, which is 1-to-1, different people, one joke at a time. And I go to other Zoom where we do 10 minutes or 5 minutes. You do 5 minutes and you get another 5 minutes feedback.
Mhm.
So it all works. And when you do it differently with one person that you like, with Joke Zoom, one at a time, and then with others, you do 5 minutes, they give you whole feedback. It works so much.
It does. It does for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like that's the thing too, is like, and I'm not a jealous person either. And so I never really want to be in a place where it's like, but I mean, that's why right now stand up is kind of like a hobby, and eventually you never know what's going to really happen. Um, I'm a software engineer, so like I've a pretty good like state full-time job, right? But for me, it's like it's such a good hobby. If I get to a place where it's like, okay, it's in a few years, you never know, right? But like, okay, cool, now I can switch over. But it's a process and it takes a long time. I don't want to rush it, and I never also want to get to a place where I'm like jealous of other people, because I'm not really a jealous person, and I've seen that where it's like there's people who are jealous of other people because maybe they got on a paid gig and they didn't, or like they're getting more time, whatever. Um, so yeah, I never really want to get to that place.
Hmm. Well, the crazy thing is that you never know,
Never know.
but you can just try.
Exactly.
This is weird. So I want to ask you one more question about software engineer.
Okay.
Um, some people, they say you should start your own website and learn how to edit it
Mhm.
and practice, so you grow with your website growing your knowledge.
Mhm.
Or do you think you always need software engineer?
So are you talking from a comedian standpoint or just from a business standpoint, or both?
Both. Like, let's say I'm a comedian, I want to make my website. Should I hire people or should I practice? So I, I my podcast is part of my
Mhm.
website. I should invest, like, let's say every day 1 hour on it.
So this is what I would say. I think that from a comedian standpoint, your big thing is gonna be your social media, right? Like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, right? That the content on those things is the most important part.
Mm.
The website, it can be like a one-stop shop of everything. You can have like all your content and like your dates where you're gonna be performing, all those things. And for me, I think as a comedian, like you could just use like WordPress or Squarespace, like some other like website that they give you templates, and you can just it doesn't cost that much, and you can just kind of just like build the format and the templates yourself, right? And they have all those widgets, so it's super easy, just drag and drop. So you're not really building a website; it's just content, like you're just adding on top of it. Um, Now, if you're like a business, though, right? Then I feel like that depends on what you're doing, because for the business I work for, you need to have like a database, and then you're gonna get users, and the amount of how much traffic are you gonna get onto the website, right? Those things you want to build, you want to have a custom software engineering, because now you have a lot more control over the code, and if you need to keep building features every single week, that's a lot more intense. But that's not really just for I mean, it's different for comedians. I think comedians, they're just all more focused on content, where I think with businesses they're maybe more focused on the data and capturing that data and capturing analytics based on the website, right? Which pages people view the most, what items people are buying the most, right? So all that stuff, you probably want custom software engineering.
That was good answer. Yeah, I will even look that one up. Maybe.
Yeah, WordPress and Squarespace are really. I mean, I think WordPress is probably the most popular. So yeah.
Okay. I want to say that I would like to have you again,
Of
but
course.
we have to end it up before I die.
Okay. You're good. You're good.
I really apologize, but it was good conversation, and I will see you in the Tony Gin Tonic.
Gin and tonic, yeah. Gin and tonic or joke Zoom, yeah, man. We'll see each other for sure.
Yeah, and so do you tell people to follow your Instagram and
Yeah,
Facebook?
yeah. You guys can follow me at the Kevin Carrier, so Kevin Carrier. You could also follow Gin and Tonic Comedy, which is Gin and Tonic _comedy on Instagram. A lot of content. that we're posting, like clips from like the improv section and also the stand-up section. And yeah, it's been great. So it's been cool running my own mic. Yeah. So
Kevin, thank you so much.
of course.
You've
Thank you,
been
Murad. I appreciate it. Feel better, dude.
amazing. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.